Welcome back to the Language Launchpad, your go-to podcast for boosting your English skills. I'm your host, Maya, and today we're diving into a topic that's fundamental, relatable, and incredibly powerful for beginner English speakers. Your daily morning routine. It's a goldmine of practical vocabulary and simple sentence structures. And joining me today to explore this topic is the brilliant language coach, David Chen. David, thanks for being here.
It's my absolute pleasure, Maya. Happy to be here and talk about something we all do every single day.
Exactly. That's actually one of the reasons I wanted to cover this. It's so universal. David, from your perspective as a language coach, why is discussing something as seemingly mundane as a morning routine such an effective exercise for beginners?
That's a fantastic question, Maya. There are several key reasons. Firstly, it's highly repetitive. Every day, more or less, you do the same things. This means you'll be using the same vocabulary and sentence structures over and over again, which is the best way to embed them in your memory.
Repetition. It's the mother of all learning, right?
Absolutely. Secondly, it primarily uses the simple present tense. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I drink coffee. This is one of the first tenses learners tackle, so it's a perfect way to reinforce it in a very natural, practical context. You're not just conjugating verbs, you're describing your life.
That makes so much sense. It feels less like a grammar lesson and more like self-expression.
Exactly. And finally, because it's your routine, it's personal and relevant. You're not trying to memorize a script about someone else's day. You're talking about your reality, which makes it much easier to recall words and boosts your confidence. You already know the information. You just need to put it into English.
I love that. So let's break it down. For our listeners who are just starting out, what are some of the first phrases and actions they can think about when describing their morning?
Okay, let's start at the very beginning of the day. The moment you open your eyes, you'd say, I wake up. Simple, right? You can add the time. I wake up at 6 a.m. or I wake up early.
So straightforward. And then, what's next for most people?
Well, usually, you get out of bed, or maybe you hit the snooze button a few times first. But let's stick to the basics for now. So, I wake up. I get out of bed. These two are a great start.
I'm already imagining myself practicing this.
Good. Then most people head to the bathroom for personal hygiene. Key phrases here. I brush my teeth. I wash my face. Some might say, I take a shower or I take a bath.
Simple, direct actions. What about getting ready for the day?
After showering, you get dressed. You put on your clothes. So, I get dressed. And then for many, it's time for the most important meal of the day, breakfast.
Ah, breakfast. My favorite part of the morning.
Mine too. So you can say, I make breakfast if you cook, or simply, I eat breakfast. And don't forget the drinks. I drink coffee, I drink tea, or I drink water.
Those are all fantastic fundamental phrases, and they apply to almost everyone. Once they've got those down, how can beginners start to string these together to make a fuller narrative?
Excellent point. To connect these simple sentences and make them flow, we use sequencing words. Think of words like first, then, after that, and finally. So you could say, first, I wake up at 7 a.m. Then I get out of bed. After that, I brush my teeth and wash my face. Finally, I make breakfast and drink coffee.
That sounds so much more natural and cohesive. It gives structure to the story.
It does. And remember, you can add more details as you feel more comfortable. Maybe you check my phone or read the news while you drink coffee. You might prepare my bag or pack my lunch. The possibilities are endless, but start simple.
What are some tips you'd give our listeners for actually practicing this? It's one thing to know the words, another to actually speak them.
Absolutely. My number one tip is to speak aloud. Don't just think it in your head. Say the sentences out loud, even if you're alone. Your mouth, tongue, and lips need to get used to forming the English sounds. Another great tip is to record yourself. Use your phone and just record your routine. Listen back. Don't focus on perfection. Just listen for clarity and confidence. It helps you catch areas to improve without the pressure of a live conversation.
That's brilliant. It's like being your own language coach.
Exactly. And try to make it a daily habit. While you're actually doing your morning routine, narrate it to yourself in English. Now I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm pouring coffee. It links the action directly to the English phrase, making it much more memorable.
That's such a practical, real-world application. I can imagine people doing that right after listening to this episode.
I hope so. And don't be afraid to write it down first. For some, seeing the words helps solidify them. Write down your routine, then practice speaking it. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is communication, not flawless grammar in the beginning.
That's such an important point, easing the pressure. And what about when people have a slightly less standard routine? Say, they exercise first thing, or they work from home, so no commute.
That's where the personalization comes in. Once you're comfortable with the basics, start adding those unique elements. If you exercise, you might say, after I wake up, I do yoga, or I go for a run. If you work from home, you can simply say, I start my work, or I open my laptop, instead of I commute to work. The core structure remains the same. You just swap out the verbs and nouns to fit your life.
It sounds like a really empowering exercise, actually, not just for language, but for becoming more mindful of your own day.
It truly is. It gives you a sense of control and clarity, and as a language learner, it gives you a solid foundation of vocabulary and grammar that you can build upon for more complex conversations. Mastering your morning routine in English is like building the first floor of your language house, essential and sturdy.
That's a fantastic analogy, David. So, to recap for our listeners, the main takeaway is that talking about your morning routine in English is a simple, effective, and accessible way to practice speaking, even if you're a complete beginner.
Exactly, Maya. It leverages common repetitive actions and the simple present tense to build confidence and vocabulary. Don't be afraid to start small. Speak out loud and make it a consistent part of your daily practice.
And remember, consistency over intensity. A little bit every day goes a long way. Thank you so much, David, for sharing these invaluable insights.
My pleasure, Maya. Keep practicing, everyone.
And thank you, our wonderful listeners, for tuning in. We hope this episode has inspired you to start narrating your own mornings in English. Head over to our website for a list of all the vocabulary and phrases we discussed today. Until next time, keep launching those language skills.